Howdy, everybody. Happy New Year's. Thank you for joining us on our first podcast of the year where we will be talking to Ed Zapata, our chair for the board. Ed, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Happy New Year to you, too.
Happy New Year.
It's New Year, not New Year's.
That's correct.
I always do that. I always add an S, and I get in trouble for that, so I apologize to everyone.
2026. It came sneaking upon us.
It did. It was so fast, and it's going to go fast because we have so much going on.
There's a lot of work to do.
And I think it's a good work, and it's a great team. So we wanted to take the time to kind of introduce you again to everyone and talk about what we're looking to accomplish in 2026. So as you step in the role, I mean, what are you personally looking to do or most excited about as serving as chair in 2026?
Wow, that's a great question. You know, what I'm most excited about is just working with the board of directors and the executive team, really enhancing our strategic plan, because we were able to create that strategic plan last year. So it's a 3-year plan. We have some really good focus points in there. We're looking at maybe expanding our education to really create a center for education with partnerships throughout the city. We're also looking at a focused year for membership, really enhancing, where our members are at and coming to them, communicating them in an effective manner. But also a lot of collaboration, within the board, the members, and also the committees.
And for you personally to serve as chair, how excited are you?
Very excited.
Okay. I'm glad. And, I mean, what part of it makes it exciting for you? Like, where is it that you're like, you know what, this is, I don't know if everyone appreciates how much time it takes to get to this position, right? Like, you've served on the board, you've worked as a director, then you get on executive committee. There's tons of other commitments you have to do to demonstrate to the leadership. So, I mean, it's a rewarding. So, congratulations to serve in this spot.
Thank you.
And what makes you most excited about finally getting to this point?
Yeah, I think that's a difficult question. Just because, you pointed out the work and the longevity that it takes to get to the position. There is a lot of long days. There's a lot of days away from home serving the association. I am excited in the fact that I am still growing. Being able to work with this team, being able to work with colleagues that are professionals here in the industry and top of their game, coming in to contribute. I'm still learning. I'm still growing, and that excites me. The other part of that is, though, too, in my position with Cooper Sotheby's International Realty, in a leadership position there, I'm able to gain insight at the local, state, and national levels, being in this position, and be able to take that back to not only them, but also the general membership. That excites me a lot, too, just to be able to have that knowledge, being able to have a voice on the state and national levels, representing the San Antonio Board of Realtors and our local city here is really exciting to me as well.
And part of that is making sure that we're talking about the vision. And what is your vision for how Sabor will support members effectively in 2026?
It's really taking our strategic plan and not really letting it just sit on a shelf. I think we need to take that strategic plan and be able to communicate it to our members effectively. Our members, they deserve to know where Sabor is going, why they are going there, and how the leadership of this organization will actually get them there. So I think it starts with us. It starts with leadership by example. So for us on the executive team, really communicating down to the board of directors, working with the board of directors, and then the whole board of directors actually communicating down to our committee chairs and our committee members to really put the word out. What is our strengths? Where are we going? So all of us as a leadership team, all the way from the board, all the way down to the committee members, can communicate that clearly to our members.
Now, I know part of the first part was increasing professionalism and it being a core strength for Sabor. How will we continue to raise the bar in 2026 within this area?
That's a great question, because we do need to increase the bar. It all comes down to professional standards, ethics, and education. So as we focus on becoming a premier education center here in San Antonio, we are increasing the level of our education. We are increasing the level of our instructors, and just promoting the fact that this is a profession that we need to work on and be there available for our consumers, our buyers and sellers out there, right? So I think, when we focus on that, we can really enhance our members' ability to do business here.
I love being there for our members and also being there for our consumers. What type of education resources do you think are going to be the most impactful for members?
That's a great question, and we're constantly working on that to making sure that we're bringing valuable education into it. But I think we start at the core. Broker responsibility, contracts. This year, Texas Realtors has increased the proficiency level to be able to teach contracts. So instructors will have to go through an additional course to be able to teach that. Bringing that to our members is key. Also, our Legal 1 and 2 classes, making sure that we understand the ethical part and the legal parts of the industry, because it's constantly changing. I think that there's going to be some more changes due to the settlement this year in 2026, because Texas Realtors and TREC is looking at possible changes to the contract, possible changes to the listing agreement. So we need to be forefront at that. When those changes come down, we need to be able to provide that to our membership, and I think that's the direction that we are going to be heading.
Do you think, in your experience, that the contracts have ever changed this frequently? I mean, I've been here 13 years dealing with forms, and I don't think I've ever seen the contracts change so many parts over a period of time. So I think focusing on that as something for our members is absolutely important.
I totally agree with that. I've been in the business for nearly 20 years, and over that time, you're right. In the last maybe 5 years, there's been a rapidly changing environment, especially when it comes down from the national level. But I think here in the state of Texas, we are very fortunate. TREC is a consumer-driven entity that is really out there to protect that consumer, and I love that about that, because when we have a strong advocate for the consumer, it allows us to elevate our profession to make sure that we're doing that. So I think Texas has always been a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to adapting to changes and getting good regulation in for our consumers. So you're absolutely right. So when we have a period of high change, I think this association needs to be looking at the ability for us to adapt quickly and get that information out to our members.
I love that you said that. I always forget that TREC is actually, I think most people think TREC is there for the real estate agent, and
That's
it's
right.
not.
No.
It's not there for you at all. It's there for the consumer, right? Like the laws are to make sure you're qualified. Excellent point.
That's right.
So part of that is obviously communicating, and our members get messages everywhere from everyone constantly all the time. What can members expect communication to evolve to in 2026?
Again, that's a great question, because communication is something that we need to always be looking at, right? How does our members want to be communicated? How are they getting their communications? How much communication are they getting? So these are the questions that the team here with the marketing and communications team are constantly evaluating. How can we get the word out to the members, how they want it, and quickly and easily understandable, because we have all this information coming out us all the time, right? It's just constantly coming out to us. So I think as we approach, 2026 is going to be a year of consistent communication, where we are trying to, really get that communication out on a consistent basis, a clear, focused. We're adapting the website. The website now has a portal where members can go to, because at the end of the day, we get a lot of emails, right? So we want a place where members can go and disseminate through that information in one single place. So I think that's one of our strategies. The other is on the socials, right? We want to be able to get information out consistently and cleanly into the social network, so our membership can have an avenue to pick up on the information that's coming out on that as well.
Okay. And I think you mentioned that's information going out, right? Us communicating to them, but you've also talked about collaborating. So what does collaboration look like in practice for our members?
We have a couple of focused areas that we're trying to employ this year. We're going to continue our broker tours. So where Sabor staff and members of the board of directors actually visit brokers, let them know what our initiatives are, what are we working on, and then just have an open dialogue with what they need and what they want, what they're seeing. So really enhancing the broker tours, I think is something that we found success in 2025, and we're gonna lean into that in 2026 to really be out there in front of those members at the broker level. The other thing is we still continue to do our general membership meetings, and I employ all our members to really look at the calendar, see what that is, schedule that date. That is an opportunity to come in, interact with the staff, interact with the board of directors, even committee chairs and committee members will be present at these meetings. It's their ability to meet and network with us, have conversations with us, right? But also we're going to have an agenda. We're going to go through what's going on during that time for these general membership meetings. So I think those two things are going to be highly focused, and members can get involved that way.
And if they are interested in a broker tour, they can email communications@sabor.com.
That's correct.
And the team will absolutely reach out to them and see if we can coordinate a date.
Yep.
So switching gears a little bit, because one of the values of any association is its advocacy. And I've always been proud of the strength that Sabor has as an advocacy organization, and how it is pretty well known for its work. What do you think the priorities are going to look like in 2026, or what they're going to look like in 2026? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being 2026, it's a non-legislative year, but still a lot of stuff happens, right? Especially at the local and state and national levels. We still have the need to be out there, be a voice, and the more members that we have at the table, the more our local community is heard. So I think issues right now, where I'm hearing from the state and local level, a lot of issues on water. HOA is another hot topic to be able to understand the intricacies of HOA policies and maybe even some reform there. But I also hear a lot of talk of insurance, right? We all see that insurance prices are steadily increasing. How can we as a membership base really advocate for some of those cost reliefs? And that comes from being highly involved in the advocacy process. So number one, looking at our representatives, talking to state leadership, interacting with national leadership as well, I think is an important thing to focus on.
You've kind of hinted on it, but I just want to stress it. Why is advocacy important for realtors this year?
I think it's extremely important because if you're in the real estate industry, you are looking at making sure that policy at the state, local, and national levels are in line with what our mission is. And basically what our mission is to really protect private property rights, protect the industry that we rely on, and out there to increase home ownership.
For sure. Okay. Now, how do you plan on keeping the board and the committees aligned, informed, and empowered? All of these work is not done by you or the officers or exec or the board, right? Like, it's a collective. How are you going to work to keep all of that focused and headed in the same direction?
Yeah, it's really enhancing the teamwork within the exec team and down into the board of realtors. So really communicating our vision, really working with the exec team to empower them to have the tools and resources to be able to grow and communicate with our board of directors. And then our board of directors really out there really advocating to our members what the association is doing.
Okay. What does success look like for you at the end of the year? So it's 2026. We're doing this podcast again. It's December and saying, hey, it's been great. And what are we going to talk about? What does that look like?
I think number one is, do we have a leadership team that is ready to go on to the next part of 2027, right? So I want to make sure that we as a leadership team develops a 2, 3, 4, and a 5-year plan. So as leadership rolls over into 2027, they are taking that baton. They're not starting over. They're not transitioning to something new. We are working towards a goal that we can pass on from leadership to leadership. So that really, for me, is number one. Number two is do we have leaders coming up within our association, all the way down to, the committee member? Are they taking advantage of the Texas Realtors Leadership Program? Have they applied for that? Are they taking advantage of some other educational opportunities that we're offering so they can build their skills into maybe becoming a committee chair? Are committee chairs equipped with the knowledge and tools to become board of directors? And our board of directors ready to step up into the executive team? So I'd love to see them really ready to handle a leadership coming up to 2027.
What does engagement look like for our members, right? So we've given a lot of very specific examples of how to move up in leadership. Mm-hmm. But what does engagement look like just for the member who joined last year, the member who joined 2 years ago, or the member who's been in this for, 20, 30 years?
Yeah, that's a great question. We really want to have that engagement and open that up to a lot more members to feel like they are engaged. I would say, come to some of our events. Come to the general membership. We talked about that, but also come to some of our tree pack events. We have tree pack events that are throughout the year that are fun. They are your ability to interact with other members, network. Come to a committee. Members can come in and if they're interested in a committee, they can sit in and listen to some committee work and speakers. We're going to have a couple more sessions on maybe a mid-year economic outlook. So I know we're going to have some dynamic speakers. Think about coming out and visiting us to one of those type events. The other thing I would really highly encourage is to look at the board for your educational resources. I think, when you look at your association, there are some top classes that are being offered here. And as we push the bar up, I think you're going to find that we have quality education that you can get here. So look to your association to come in and do some of those classes, come in and do some of those sessions that we're offering. Because when you're looking at the association to do that, you're helping the association overall, which increases our ability to do the work that we need to do here.
Awesome. I think that's a great way to encourage all of our members who are listening, who are starting 2026, to maximize their 2026 is get involved. We have plenty of ways for you as a realtor to get involved and grow professionally, increase your sphere of influence, business, and just make this industry a much better industry for everyone, right?
I would agree with that, yes. Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of work for 2026. Thank you for starting us off. Let's go get it done.
Let's get to work. Thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you.